Hello and welcome to episode 16 of the In the Clutch podcast. My name is Drew Clutchy and I'm here alongside my co-host Jeremy Wilson, where I think we should all be rushing out to buy Precious Achua jerseys.
Precious Jew had transition three and 76ers, like just dribbled into transition fast break three. Something I've only seen Lowry and Van Fleet do on the Raptors, and my jaw literally dropped.
Well, and he did it like fast. Like it was quick, he was moving, it was smooth, he ran in, took that three and hit it. But the very next game, Raptors, so that was against the 76ers on Thursday night. Last night, the Raptors take on Houston. Precious Achua, we get the steal. Precious goes running up the floor, full steam ahead. The defender's backpedaling, and then the defender stops backpedaling, and Precious Achua just tries to like dribble through him and just gets the ball ripped right out of his hands, and we're going the other way. And I was like, that looks more like it. I'm back to this is where I thought we'd be.
Well, you win some, you lose some with guys who are like 20, 21 years old.
But yeah, I just sometimes I start to get uncomfortable, and some players are better at this than others, where they start working outside of their means and taking shots that aren't theirs. And I just like one thing that really bothers me in basketball is what I consider to be wasted possessions.
Right.
And we finally get the steal, and we were struggling against Houston, like we were down by like 20 or something. And then we brought it within 10, and then we were within 10 for a while, and ultimately we did come back and win. But when we're in a situation like that, to have him waste a possession where we get the steal just drives me bonkers.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand that trying to dribble through the entire defense really isn't what Precious should be doing. But he's shooting like 40% from threes since the All-Star break, so I'm not sure if threes aren't his shot anymore, you know?
No, and I think it's reasonable, but our transition threes his shot.
Apparently they are now, so.
Like, you know when Curry won that game against, I'm going to say against Oklahoma, it was against Oklahoma or the Clippers, I always mix it up.
Okay,
Where,
see when he pulled up from like just inside half court in overtime?
yeah, like, is that Precious?
Yeah. Almost. A couple years.
Almost. Well, think about it, Curry's hurt. See, the Raptors commentary group, it was Maddie, and then it might have been Leo, I can't remember. Changes by the night, obviously. They were like,
On the 76ers game, it was Alvin Williams.
oh, okay, well, there you go. And Alvin was like, man, like, Kyle Lowry never gave us dunks like that. So maybe he's right. Maybe Precious Achua is now the GOAT.
Yeah, Precious Achua is Magic Johnson, 6'9" point guard.
Yeah, exactly. It boggles me watching Scotty Barnes play point guard because he's built like a power forward or a fullback in football. So you see Scotty Barnes bringing the ball up, and like it's like LeBron when LeBron brings the ball up, where his arms are so big they don't really fit inside of his chest. Like he can't bring his arms in front of him. You know what I mean?
Not exactly, but
oh, okay. Well, it's like I don't know. Like watch LeBron dribble a basketball. His arms are so big that they like hit his torso when he tries to put them in front of his body. So when Scotty Barnes dribbles the ball up, I find it has that same look where he used to dribble it like out in front of himself because he's built like a football player. Desmond
I
Bain.
think I have the same issue with Scotty though as you do, like you did in the Rockets game with Precious. I feel like sometimes he decides I'm going to take a jump hook on this possession, and then doesn't look at anybody else all possession.
He did that really badly yesterday against Houston, where
Yeah.
he hit a three, and like a shot clock running down, 5 seconds left. I'm just going to shoot it three, right from the top, and he hit it. So the next possession, he gets the ball and stands 6 feet further back than that three with like 19 seconds on the shot clock and just pulls. And I was like, again, wasted possession. Like, really? So
Yeah.
that's what bothers me about the Raptors. And like you said, it's to be expected from a young team, right?
Yeah. There's only so much you can do, and you gotta let them play. And I know Nick Nurse has been very lenient and given them the green light to shoot and to play make and to do what they want to do.
Well, and if you're a nurse, you have to, right? Because they're just like that's how they're gonna develop. They're gonna learn through making mistakes and stuff like that.
Right, and Precious Achua looks 100 times better now than he did in October, whenever we first saw him play.
Yeah, he does. Which he looked like a player that we wasn't even gonna make our roster.
He was like a young Aaron Baines to me at the beginning.
Yeah, or not our roster, our rotation.
Right.
But yeah, when he first started, and obviously, some players adapt to new situations better than others.
Right.
So it definitely like you have to give, especially young players, you have to give them a little bit of buffer, right?
Yeah, for
to
sure.
see how they can adapt to their new situation. But it's good now that he seems to be working into the role. And I was excited when we brought him in the
Yeah.
Lowry deal
Mm.
because I didn't think we were going to get much of anything for Lowry.
Right.
And given that the other package we would have gotten for Lowry was Taylor Horton Tucker, like during the season last year, I
Right.
think given what I've seen from both of those players, I'd rather have Precious.
I actually don't think the Lakers were prepared to give up Taylor Horton Tucker for Lowry, which is
Well,
crazy.
that's what I mean, but like that was the other scenario where we got really close to a deal, but nothing came through because the Lakers wouldn't give him up.
Right.
And I'm kind of happy that they didn't. Like I'm
Yeah,
okay
and
with that.
you would trade like that. That's a solid trade for the Raptors now. Kyle was leaving anyways, and you just brought in a 20-year-old center who's going to be on the team for who knows how long.
The Raptors are excited. I didn't think we were well. Obviously, and when Scotty Barnes came in, he was a no-level scorer, and now he's 3-level scorer depending on the day and the shots he's taking.
He's a like 1.5 level scorer.
Well, no, he can physically score from all 3 levels. He hits threes. He's just inconsistent all across.
Well, Ben Simmons can physically score from all 3 levels. It's not
No,
like
he
he's
can't.
never hit a
No,
three.
he literally can't.
He's hit a
physically
three
cannot.
before.
You have to shoot the ball to score from all 3 levels.
Yeah, but every time I see Scotty shoot a 3, I wince.
Yeah, but
Like,
some of them
please
go
no,
in.
Scotty. Please do not do that.
But so anyway, so Scotty Barnes is a 1.5 level to 3 level scorer depending on who you ask and what day of the week it is.
His mid range is fine. That's my opinion.
So then, that obviously helps us out a lot. Yeah, you're right. He's a 30% 3-point shooter.
Yeah,
But to me, I'm happy that he's willing to shoot the shots.
that's fair.
Because the other thing too is, I bet he could be a better 3-point shooter than that. Because he's a 30% 3-point shooter, shooting them like from the top and as a point guard. But I bet if he shot like PJ Tucker threes, he'd be more like 33%.
Have you shot like exclusively corner threes?
Yeah, and that were set up to him by Freddie every time with a beautiful pass.
Right.
So I bet he
That's
could
fair.
be better than he is. But the Raptors are exciting right now, which I didn't think we were going to be this year. And frankly, I'm a Raptors fan, like diehard. Like there's no team that I'm more of a fan of. But I will admit, especially because of just the podcast and reporting on Raptors Cage and stuff like that, and then also fantasy basketball, I've become a lot more of a basketball fan. It's like I used to watch the Raptors every single game versus now if the Raptors are playing Houston or Detroit or something and I'm expecting them to kill them or like, you know what I mean? Then
Right.
I'll transition and I'll actually watch like the Utah Suns game or Suns Warriors or something.
Right.
But it's exciting to be a Raptors fan at this point because we weren't expecting to be this good. So now I'm like, oh, like maybe this year I wasn't expecting to watch as much Raptors basketball. I thought, oh yeah, I'll watch a lot of our games and we'll be an 8 seed or we'll scrape into the play-in game or something and we'll see what happens, right?
Right.
I honestly hadn't projected us to be this high this year, and I don't think obviously anybody projected Scotty Barnes to be this good. So now it's kind of exciting because it's like an added bonus. I thought I was just going to be watching a lot of basketball and Raptors basketball, but now I can watch every Raptors game because they're all exciting.
Right. The first website I could pull up that had a win projection for before the season had the Raptors last in the division, 6 games back of the Knicks, and winning 35.5 games.
The Knicks.
And they're now 40. They've got 48 wins, I think.
Yeah.
So they've exceeded that by almost 15.
Yeah. No, I don't know. The Raptors are. I'm very surprised, but I'm obviously pleasantly surprised. We'll take it.
Anyway, this in fact is not a Precious Achua based episode.
I'm not. I just for clarity, I don't want to make anybody think something. I'm not gonna hang a Precious Achua jersey in my office yet. It's currently Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, and Steph Curry, which is pretty exclusive company. So I'm not yet on NBA.com buying a Precious jersey.
But if I had to vote for MVP right now, it would be Precious. Anyway.
Yeah, maybe this is why the NBA doesn't give us a vote. Can you imagine if anybody who had a podcast or like a YouTube channel or whatever with over 20 episodes, you also got a vote?
Yeah,
Or like
that'd be
over
awesome.
30 hours of content? Because then you've proven that you're at least somewhat committed.
You commit to producing content at least.
Yeah, or like if you write for a blog and you have a certain amount of articles, so like Neeraj gets a vote, we get votes, and the rest of Raptors Cage and everything, we're all voting Precious. I was voting for the All-Star game. I was voting Ben Simmons and Kyrie Irving because I thought that was hilarious.
Which neither of them made it, thank goodness, because neither of them
Disappointingly.
deserved to make it. But
Can you imagine how great of an all-star draft that would be? When they put LeBron and KD up on the screen, and one of them is to pick Ben Simmons, and one of them is to pick Kyrie.
and did you watch the All-Star draft this year? It was
Yeah,
hilarious.
LeBron hiding his face with a clipboard. He didn't want
Yeah,
to pick Harden. KD didn't want Harden either.
Kevin Durant desperately not picking Harden. It was hilarious.
Rudy Gobert must have been thrilled.
I don't think LeBron didn't want to pick Harden. I think LeBron wasn't picking Harden because he wanted to make Durant pick Harden, and he thought he was hilarious, which it
Speaking of
was.
Braun, I just remembered this. Did you hear what Braun said about Steph Curry?
I want to play with Steph Curry, and Steph Curry was like,
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that weird? Steph Curry
I
was
don't
like,
think
he
it's
already
weird.
has played with me.
I don't think it's that weird. I mean, like LeBron, I think it was on his show, was asked what players he would want to play with. I would expect him to say Steph Curry in that situation, to be honest. So I don't think that's weird. And in terms of Steph Curry's currently playing with a very good team who, if they're healthy, has a decent shot at a title. So why would Steph Curry want to change anything right now?
Well, to be fair, I'd add Braun. He added KD, and it worked pretty well.
Yeah, but if you say, "Yeah,
Hear
I
me
want
out.
to play with LeBron," you're good. All you're gonna do is cause turmoil in your own team.
You know
Where
how you know how they replaced Harrison Barnes with KD?
yes,
Let's replace Kevon Looney with LeBron.
no, but I'm saying if you say I want to play with LeBron, how many Warriors players are thinking, "Oh, I've got to like they have to let me go to make that happen."
Probably just Wiggins.
But if it's gonna be a trade, it's Wiggins and Jordan Poole, and like
Steph, Clay, Braun, Dre.
I
You don't even need a fifth
understand,
guy on the court.
but saying on air that you want to play with LeBron, all it's gonna do is make some of your teammates feel bad.
Yeah, but they
And
already
why
know
do
you want to
that?
play with LeBron. By that same definition, like it
Yeah,
goes
so
without
if they
saying.
know, like I just don't think it's necessary to say it.
That's
Like
that's fair.
I think it's gonna cause issues on
You're
your
such a
team.
respectable teammate.
Thank you.
Look at that. Yeah, what a good
When
guy.
we played together in high school, I would never say that I wanted to play with LeBron instead.
No, you'd say that you want to play for Ajax. When we
uh,
didn't have a team, we all tried to go play for Brooklyn. How's that different?
it's different, trust me.
um, yeah, I don't know. I think it's tricky. I honestly, here's a hot take that's 3 years late, and I'm sure that somebody said it already, or it's more than that. It's like 5 years late. Here's a 5 year late hot take.
Mm.
I'm coming around, and I now respect more that Kevin Durant joined the Warriors because we judge all of these elite players so much on whether or not they win or lose.
And we've decided that Kevin Durant hasn't won because he went to the Warriors.
I know, but like the essence of it is when he gets into fights with people on Twitter now, he can say that he has 2 rings and 2 Finals MVPs, and Westbrook and Harden can't do that.
Right, but what are those people who fight with him on Twitter going to say back? Oh yeah, when you went and joined the best regular season team ever created.
Right, but they paired Harden with Kyrie and KD, and we did Braun and AD and Westbrook, and it didn't work, but we did it.
Sure.
And you have people like Dame and Bradley Beal who are sitting out on their own in, well, I guess one's on the West Coast and one's on the East Coast. But like I'm pretty sure Dame, like Portland's like the middle of the forest or something. Dame might as well be in Thunder Bay. Like the Thunder Bay Trailblazers, we could do that. So Dame's sitting out on his own out there. He might as well have a ring for it.
Sure, but Kevin Durant wasn't sitting in on his own. He had just been up 3-1 in the conference finals on the Warriors, couldn't close it out, and then said, you know what? I couldn't beat you guys in the conference finals when I was up 3-1. Can I please play with you?
Right.
And
And he
that's
did. And they won.
embarrassing. It's not, no, it's not a more respectable move now than it was in 2016.
It's a better move. The more I think about it, because all we do is judge these players on whether or not they win. And now, some championships are going to be better than others. Like, obviously, Giannis's championship, Kawhi's championship, those are better than others.
Well,
But
those
we
both
let
those
everybody.
championships are Steph Curry championships, and Kevin Durant hasn't won one yet. So
I agree. See, I respect him and agree. Does that make sense? I don't know. It's just tricky because some teams, like, draft really well. and develop talent really well, like
like the
Toronto, like the
Warriors,
Spurs, like the Warriors.
or like the Thunder had done with Westbrook, Harden, and Durant.
Right, but Westbrook sucks.
Pretty good
So
drafting.
then you get in a
Well, he
situation.
didn't
I don't
then.
know. So it's not Kevin Durant's fault because, okay,
I
take
can
this
blame Kevin
premise.
Durant.
Just entertain my thoughts here for a second.
Okay.
Take this premise that Westbrook is not a winning player,
I
and
accept
Harden's
that
not a winning
premise.
player, and let's say Dame's not a winning player, just for the
Oh,
fun of
I
it.
don't accept that premise,
Just
but
no,
I
entertain
accept
the
your
thought
other
for a
ones.
second. Okay, so let's say Dame, Westbrook, and Harden are not winning players,
Sure.
which I don't actually agree with that. Dame's a winning player at least, but
Yes.
it's not Kevin Durant's fault that the Spurs were able to develop Tony Parker, who's a winning player, and Ginobili, who's a winning player, and Tim Duncan, who's a winning player, and Kawhi. And similarly, the Warriors were able to do the same thing, except instead of Ginobili, they have Klay Thompson or Iguodala, depending on who you're arguing is the Ginobili of the team, right?
Hmm.
So it's not Kevin Durant's fault that while the Thunder developed good players, they didn't develop winning players.
Well, they won enough to have a 3-1 lead in the conference finals on the 73-9 Warriors.
Right, but very few teams actually, or very few players actually win.
Sure.
So it's not he went and joined winners.
And Kevin Durant is one of those players
That doesn't win or does win.
that doesn't win.
I see where you're coming from. I don't know. I'm like I said, it's not a perfect system yet.
I'm
But
not
I'm in
actually
between.
as anti Kevin Durant as I'm giving off right now.
No,
but
I actually am. I don't count his championships, but I respect what he did.
I don't respect what he did, and I don't count his championships. We can move on.
Okay. So the theme of this episode, we were gonna do a playoff analysis here, like predictions and play-in predictions and everything. I have one more point that I wanted to make, but it's not coming to me, so I guess we'll get rolling on that. So, do you want to go first, or you want me to go first? I'll read off the four teams. We'll start in the Eastern Conference because we're in the East here. So as of there's about 1 or 2 games left, depending on who you are in the league. It is the morning of Saturday, April 9th, and the play-in teams in the Eastern Conference are locked in for the 4 teams. We just don't know necessarily who's where. So we have Brooklyn, Cleveland, Atlanta, and Charlotte. And notably eliminated from the play-in recently is the Knicks and Washington.
Right. And just a note on the play, and I know most often that it's like 1 plays 8 and 2 plays 7 in the play in. 7 plays 8, winner gets the 7 seed. And then the loser of that game plays the winner of 9-10.
Which
And
is
the winner
awesome.
of that gets the 8 seed.
I was explaining that to Tori the other day. And
Yeah.
it's awesome because it's just so exciting to watch like LaMelo Ball go against Kevin Durant, a single elimination, and just see what happens. Like I'm more excited. The play-in starts Tuesday night, and it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and I'm more excited for the play-in than I am the playoffs right now.
It's not Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
I don't think so.
I figured they'd have like East on Tuesday and Thursday, and then West Wednesday and Friday or something. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. I'd have to double check. Anyway, I thought it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah,
But
fair enough.
I'm so excited. I'm at this exact moment. I'm more excited for the play-in than I am the playoffs.
More
Also, they
interested when
can't.
the Raptors
They
are
won't
in
do
the
East on the
playoffs, but
same night. I don't think because the games would take place at the same time.
That's fair. I
So they'll
understand
do
that.
East West because it'll be 7 p.m., 10 p.m. or 7:30, 10.
Anyway, so Nets, Cavs. Who's winning that game, in your opinion?
As much as I want to see the Nets play Trae Young or LaMelo, I think it's gonna be the Nets.
Yeah, I think the Cavs are on such a downslide at the end of the season. The Nets are probably just gonna beat them, dispatch them quickly, so that puts the Nets playing the 2 seed Bucks.
Okay, so we both said the Nets win, and just because they're the Nets and the Cavs are sliding, and we don't even know if Jared Allen's gonna play and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So then so the Cavs are now kicked down, and they're gonna play another game at home,
yep.
and they're gonna have Atlanta or Charlotte. So Trae Young or LaMelo Ball.
I think they're gonna have Atlanta.
Oh, see, I'm betting Charlotte.
I don't know. Charlotte plays 0 defense, which I'm sure you know,
Yeah,
but Atlanta has a slightly better defense. I don't think they're a good defense by any stretch, but Trae Young is
well, Trae
really,
Young's the
really
worst
good.
defender in the league.
And we've seen him in the playoffs be a superstar. Yeah, Ice Trae, exactly.
Ice Trae, yeah.
So I'm
Okay.
taking Trey Young to win that game.
Okay, so I'm taking Charlotte, and I'm gonna base it on the premise of they just have more people. Like
Sure.
they have Bridges, they have Rozier, PJ Washington's awesome if you want to play small ball. Plumlee started shooting free throws with his left hand, and it seems to be working a little bit better. So they have Isaiah Thomas now, who might be able to make a couple big shots. So I'm betting Charlotte. So then you have Cleveland and Atlanta, and I have Cleveland and Charlotte. So
Yeah.
then who do you think gets out of there?
Again, because Cleveland's on such a downslide, and I believe in Trey Young, I'm taking Atlanta to beat the Cavs
And
into
I'm
the
taking
playoffs.
Charlotte to beat the Cavs. So I have
Fair enough.
Brooklyn and Charlotte, and you Brooklyn Atlanta as the
Yeah.
7-8 seeds.
Yep. Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know. The playing games, I'm so excited because it's so unpredictable. Single elimination games.
Yeah, it's really tough to call because the Hornets can put up 140 on any given night. So if they decide to do that
Exactly.
on play-in night, then
It's over. Then it's over. Well, but they have to play twice, and that's why it's so valuable for all the play-in teams to be the 7 seed.
right, you get
Because
2 games
one
instead of
win
3
at
games.
home, like just win the first one at home, and you're done. So if you're a team like I'm sure Charlotte and Atlanta specifically with Trae Young and LaMelo Ball would love to be the 7 seed.
Right.
Because to have LaMelo get a 30-point triple double and just win the first game at home, or to have Trae Young drop 44 and 13 assists,
Yeah.
the whole thing is done right there. And that's what I'm sure the Nets are betting on with KD and Kyrie is they'll just combine for 74 points, and then that's it.
Yeah, for sure. So we can do the entire East first and then move on to the West.
No, let's roll play-in first, and then we'll move
Okay.
on to playoff seeding. So we got the Eastern play-in. So just for reference, it'll be Miami, Milwaukee, Boston, Philadelphia, Toronto, Chicago as the top 6. And then Jer has Brooklyn, Atlanta as 7 and 8, and I have Brooklyn, Charlotte. Hit us with the
So,
West play-in, Jer.
first matchup, 7-8 is Timberwolves Clippers, and then 9-10 is Pelicans Spurs.
Notably eliminated is the LA
The
Lakers.
Lakers.
Just fell out this past week, so the Lakers are out. Sacramento is not particularly notably eliminated because they were never
They're
that close.
Sacramento. Sacramento can never be notable.
Obviously, yeah. Well, that's it. De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis. Oh, what did they call them? The Fox and the Bull or something?
I got no idea.
They have a weird nickname now. So Sacramento is the next team behind the Lakers that didn't make it, and then notably eliminated, but not recently, is obviously Portland, because
Yep.
Dame got hurt and they just broke the whole thing down. So normally
And they went
Portland,
heavily tank mode.
yeah. So normally,
And
obviously,
fun fact,
Portland's
Portland
closer to the
actually
top.
won more games than the Lakers since the All-Star break.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously Portland and the Lakers are the two teams from the West that are notably eliminated, but Portland not recently.
So Timberwolves Clippers, who do you have winning that 7-8 matchup?
I've got the Clips. I like Paul George. I like Norman Powell. I think they're a little bit more scrappy than the Timberwolves are because it's the typical. Obviously, I think the Timberwolves have better talent without Kawhi playing for the Clippers, but it's the typical like Anthony Edwards is super hot cold. D'Angelo Russell and Cat are super. I might not play defense tonight, so I'm gonna bet the Clippers based on I think that they're gonna try harder and just play a better game. And Paul George will probably drop like 28 and 8.
Yeah, and I've actually changed my mind in terms of how much I trust Paul George since the beginning of this episode, and I'm also going to take the Clippers in that game.
Oh, nice! Look at me go.
So we both have the Clippers taking the 7 seed. And then your 9-10 matchup is Pelicans Spurs.
It's a 50-50. It's the same. It's
not a 50-50 though. The Pelicans are just a better team than the Spurs are.
The Pelicans are a better team than the Spurs are, but Dejounte Murray was on my fantasy team, and now I really trust him. So,
Okay. I know he carried you in fantasy, but
I don't know. The Pelicans Spurs, the 9-10 seed is the most interesting to me because both those teams, and it's the same in the Eastern Conference, you only get one game.
right.
So, same thing with LaMelo Ball and Trae Young. Dejounte Murray is 35, 10, and 10. Then it's going to be tough for the Pelicans, or similarly, if CJ drops 40, it'll be tough for the Spurs. So the 9-10 to me is almost, depending on who's in it, obviously, by the year, it's almost the most interesting game of the play-in for me. Or of the season, basically. Like, other than, obviously, there's a Game 7 in the finals or whatever. But if you count the play-in as part of the regular season, not the playoffs, it's by far the most interesting game. Because it just comes down to the individual talent.
Yeah, but if we decide that neither of those players, like if we say, sure, if DeJounte Murray has 36, 10, and 10, the Spurs are probably going to win. And if CJ drops 40, the Pelicans are probably going to win. But if we assume that neither of those things happen, the Pelicans have a better chance of winning the game than the Spurs do.
Agreed. Okay, so let's say Pelicans then.
I would take the Pelicans. So that puts you with a Pelicans Timberwolves matchup for the 8 seed.
Timberwolves. I think
I'm
they'll
gonna
play
take the
defense.
Pelicans.
Like frankly, I think they'll play defense one of the two games.
I think I'm going to take the Pelicans. I like how the Pelicans are built. I think they should let Zion play, but all the same,
They won't.
they probably won't. No.
Anthony Edwards is a bucket.
I have watched very, very little of Anthony Edwards, so
Anthony
cannot
Edwards
compare.
is like, I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of. Obviously, I'm not. I hate it when you compare somebody to like Kobe or Jordan or Braun or whoever, and people take that as like a disrespect to the amazing player you've compared them to.
Mm.
But I think of it more as an archetype.
I watched Tyler Hero and I was like, man, that's like Devin Booker.
Yeah, exactly. But you're not saying Tyler Hero's as good as Devin Booker. You're not saying you bet the farm on Tyler Hero in a one-on-one against Devin Booker. Like none of that. But Anthony Edwards is like Jordan and Kobe in terms of he's just a bucket.
Right.
3-level scorer, can do anything. He's a physical monster.
He just dunks on anybody and everybody.
Yeah, like he's just a bucket. But archetype, in terms of the archetype, I'm not saying he's as good as Jordan. I'm not saying Anthony Edwards is going to win 6 rings. But he's just a walking bucket. So I bet at least in one of the games that the Timberwolves will show up. And that's why it's good that they're the 17 because they have 2 games.
Right.
So I think they'll show up at least once and get in.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I'm going to take the Pelicans in that game. I trust the Pelicans players more, CJ and Brandon Ingram. And
so then we have Phoenix, Memphis, Golden State, Dallas, Utah, Denver. And then we both have the Clippers in the 7 seed.
Yeah.
And then I have Minnesota and you the Pelicans.
And I don't think that'll affect anything once we get to the next round because that team's playing the Suns.
Okay, so that's one thing I want to talk about. Anybody who says that the Suns are not winning the championship is ridiculous. Now, you might have it by a narrow margin or something.
The Suns aren't winning the championship.
That's ridiculous.
Well, we will get there. We will get there. And we can argue about it then.
Can we start with the Western Conference?
We can start with the Western Conference.
Okay, Suns Pelicans or Suns Timberwolves, however you want to slice it.
Yeah, the Suns are going to run over whoever gets there. 5
and they're
games.
going to win the championship.
Okay, we're going to start with round 1.
Oh, we're going through all the rounds?
Yes.
I thought we were just doing the first round matchups.
No, we're going through all the rounds.
Oh, wow.
We're going round by
hustle
round.
Then. We're already like halfway through this thing.
We don't really have to talk about Suns Clippers. The Suns are going to run over the Clippers.
Okay. Or, no, it's not Suns Clippers. It's Suns Timberwolves or Pelicans.
Oh, my bad. The Suns are going to run over the Pelicans or the Timberwolves.
Okay. Memphis is also going to run over who they play, assuming. So, Suns are going to kill the Pelicans or the Timberwolves. Done. Memphis is either going to, assuming Ja Morant plays, which I think he's supposed to come back for the playoffs. Because there's like, the other thing too is if you're above the play-in game, you get like a week off.
Right.
So, that's also valuable. So Memphis is going to kill the Clippers, correct? Kawhi's probably not going to play.
I don't know. Paul George might steal a game, maybe even 2, but I have no question the Grizzlies are going to win.
Okay, Golden State's going to smack Denver, assuming Steph Curry plays.
Yeah. Again, Jokic might get a game, maybe 2, but.
And then Dallas, Utah.
Luka's ridiculous. And
yeah, wow, the Western
the
Conference is really easy. Dallas and Utah to me is the closest to 50-50, where playoff Donovan Mitchell is incredible.
Yeah, but all Luka is incredible. So.
Okay, so the first round in the West is pretty easy.
Yep. So
the West is really bad.
Moving on, we have we'll do the East first round, but our conference semifinal matchups are Suns, Mavs, and Warriors, Grizzlies.
I love being let's just go all the way through the West for a linear.
Well, when I said earlier, do you want to just do the East before we do the West? You said no, let's do the West. So.
Well, I want to do the play-ins first. I don't know. I'm getting mixed up. I really want to talk about the Suns.
Okay, Suns and Mavs. Who do you got?
Suns, easy.
I don't think it's gonna be easy.
Put Bridges on Doncic, and then just let Chris Paul and Devin Booker.
And you're telling me Luka's not still gonna drop 30, 10, and 10 every game?
No, he'll drop 24, 9, and 8.
I don't think it's gonna be easy. I think the Mavs are a good team. I think they're a solid defensive team, and I think the Suns will win, but 6 or 7 games.
I bet 6. I don't think the Mavs will take them 7.
I think they could. Game 6 is gonna be at Dallas against a good defensive team with one of the 3 or 4 best players in the world. 4 probably.
I was gonna say he's not in the top 3. We know who the 3 are.
He might be in the top 3.
Which that brings me to the other interesting point I wanted to make.
That Luka's better than Embiid.
I didn't watch basketball when Derrick Rose won the MVP.
Yeah, neither did I.
But does the Derrick Rose MVP now seem like it shouldn't have happened?
Yeah, but so do both Steve Nash MVPs, and I'm sure a lot of other MVPs.
I know. What did we do about that?
We don't do anything but that. We say, that's too bad LeBron didn't get that one, and we move on.
Because when you look at MVPs now, like we have 3 guys almost averaging triple doubles on like 60% field goal percentages, and 2 of them are all NBA defenders, and the third one is really good in like if you look in deeper into the defensive stats. No, Jokic is really good on defense in terms of like the analytics of it.
Right.
And we don't know which one of them is going to win MVP, and there's 3 of them.
Yes, I agree.
So what happened?
Well, Derrick Rose was 22, and they wanted to give them the MVP, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. So that's crazy to me. The more I look back at that, like, and obviously, like I said, I didn't watch it, so I can't judge the effect that Derrick Rose had on the Bulls, blah, 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 blah. But, like, wow.
Anyway, so we both have the Suns going to the conference finals. Warriors, Grizzlies.
Warriors, assuming Steph Curry plays.
Yeah, I just don't see the Grizzlies really being able to beat the Warriors at this point. Maybe one more year. I don't know, but
Well,
I
and
don't
I
know.
don't, yeah, I just
I think
in
a healthy
7-game
Warriors team will
series-
beat them.
Exactly. And, like, even in a 7-game series, the Warriors just have so much depth in terms of, like, if Steph has an off night, Wiggins might drop 28.
Or Clay.
Or, well, yeah, but, like, assuming Clay drops 25 or 18 or something every night
Right.
or whatever, then, yeah, like, it's just the Warriors are too deep.
Yeah,
Not to
like
mention the
I would
experience.
like to pick the Grizzlies. I don't have a ton of confidence in the Grizzlies right now. So
The Warriors are phenomenal free throw shooters.
the Warriors are phenomenal free throw shooters. Yes,
And
and
there's just no way to beat them.
we are assuming like full health for every team, unless they're missing somebody currently.
Yeah, it's like
already.
assuming, like, yeah, I assume Kawhi's not going to play. I'm assuming Ben Simmons isn't going to play.
But we're assuming like
No Zion.
Draymond is back and
Yes.
all that. So
And
Suns,
Ja Morant.
Warriors, Western Conference Finals. I know you've got the Suns because you said anybody who's not.
Yep,
doesn't
I have the
win
Suns. Suns in
championship
7,
together.
but I have the Suns.
Yeah, I think the Warriors can really give them a run for it. Because the Warriors are ridiculous, and I would not be at all surprised if the Warriors pulled out this series. But I also have the Suns. I think the Suns are just the best team in the West, and I don't think it's particularly close.
Yeah, I have Suns in 7. I think the Warriors will give it a run, but Suns at home in the Valley. That's it.
Okay, moving on to Heat Hornets is your first round matchup. Heat Hawks is mine.
Heat.
Yeah, Heat easy
Assuming
again.
a
They're
healthy
just
Heat.
better.
Heat. Easy. The Heat are
Yeah,
awesome.
they're just better. So
Jimmy Butler plays better in the playoffs. Kyle Lowry plays great in the playoffs. PJ Tucker can guard anybody.
so on to 76ers Raptors 4-5.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Toronto.
I got Toronto too, and I know we're probably a little bit biased, but Toronto, for those of you that haven't watched play Philly this year, is 3-1 against Philly. Joel Embiid does not like Toronto's defense, and he said so in the past.
Hear me out. Toronto at Philly, game 7. Or Philly at Toronto if we end up in the 4 seed. We give the ball to Scotty Barnes, and we have him take the same shot Kawhi did for the win.
Play it so it's game 7 and tied 90-90. And
Like we're at the free throw line to win it, and then just miss it, and then wait till we get the ball back, and then just do the Kawhi thing. And tell Embiid that that's the plan. Like, yo, you gotta guard me, dude. I'm gonna shoot the game winner, and then just like run over and take it.
That'd be awesome.
So yeah, I don't know. I have Toronto in that series just based on, like you said, like Embiid doesn't like Toronto. Nobody likes playing Toronto's defense because we switch everything and it's annoying. And Nick Nurse is a wizard of a defensive coach.
Joel Embiid is literally triple teamed every time he touches the ball.
Yeah. So I'm gonna bet us just based on, and like when I watch.
Also,
the game on
Matisse
Thursday.
Thybulle can't play in Toronto.
Yeah, which is notable because if they had a good defender on any of our wings, none of our if they just put them on Siakam or something, then like we'd really struggle that whole game.
I think when they've played before, they've put him on Gary Trent, and I honestly think that's a
Interesting.
good move. They just take away a really good scorer, and
Well,
like you're
yeah,
not
because
gonna
it
stop
starts
Siakam. So
if you kick it. Part of what makes deadly scorers so deadly is having good teammates around them. Because if you kick it to those players who can also score,
right,
it's like if you kick it to Gary Trent when you've collapsed the defense, then that really is bad for Philly. But I think you're right that if you put Thibault on Trent, then that all you have to do is try to stop Siakam directly
right,
or wall him off or whatever, because Thibault can guard the
and
tertiary score.
I know we both watched the game on Thursday between the Raptors and the 76ers, and you would have a very hard time convincing me that Siakam wasn't the best player on the floor, even though he
Oh, I
was
thought he was.
playing like alongside Embiid and Harden. You're saying Siakam's the best player tonight,
He was that night.
and I don't think that's going to be true like for the every game in the series or anything like that. But I think it's possible that on any given night, it can look like the Raptors have the best player on the floor.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. So I would pick the Raptors in that series in like 6 or 7, like right till the end.
Yeah, I think it'll drag it out too.
Not to mention Harden's playoff performances.
Yeah, agreed. So
All right.
on to two 2-7 or 2-6, or who do we have next? I have
2-7.
Celtics Bulls as the next matchup, but
Uh,
3-6.
uh, Bulls.
Bulls
Celtics. Well, Celtics are really hurt.
really hurt, meaning
Did,
Robert Williams.
didn't Horford also go down?
Yeah, but Horford's not a big piece of
He's
that
their,
team. I feel like.
he's like their starting four sometimes.
Yeah, but is he really like that much of an improvement over like Grant Williams or whoever they're gonna start as the backup?
I think so because it takes away your depth, right? So Grant Williams is an or not awful, an awesome 3-point shooter, like in terms of catch and shoot threes. Um, so I think taking away that depth aspect of it, because now you can't have him off the bench. Now he's playing starter minutes. I think that really hurts them. And then that's also assuming though that the Bulls are fairly healthy. But like in a 7 game series, which might obviously be less than 7, where you don't have your best paint protector, Levine and DeMar and Vucevic are going to go to town.
Yeah, and I see that. It's tough without Robert Williams because that number one defense in the league really struggles.
Right. And
Um,
all they have to do in a couple games is stop Tatum and Brown, which obviously I know that's easier said than done, but like it depends too if they get Lonzo back. Which do you actually know what Lonzo's condition is now?
I don't for sure. I feel like he might be out for the season. Let me pull that up.
Caruso's already back, so that
Yeah,
helps to stop like a Derek White or a Marcus Smart.
yeah, but
Marcus
doesn't have
Smart
to
can't.
stop with Jason Tatum.
No, but Marcus Smart can't guard Levine and DeRozan.
Lonzo's out for the season. Just
Okay, and Patrick Williams is back,
yeah,
which
sure. Marcus Smart can't stop Levine and DeRozan, but Jalen Brown can guard one of those guys.
that's true.
Jalen
I
Brown's an all NBA level defender, I feel like.
I think Robert Williams is in the running for Defense Player of the Year. I don't think he'll win it, but I think he's in the running for it. And because of that, because he's missing, I think it just hurts them too much. Like that is the Celtics' number one defense to an extent.
Yeah, and I see that. I just think Jason Tatum is the best player on the floor, respect to DeMar DeRozan. But
Yeah, no, and
um
I agree with that.
and I think the Celtics are still a better defensive team because I think Tatum's a at least okay, if not good defender, and Jalen Brown and Marcus Smart are great defenders.
They're all good defenders.
So I have the Celtics probably in 6. I don't have a lot of faith in the Bulls, but
Yeah, it'll be an interest. That might be one of the most interesting series of the first round, just because Robert Williams is hurt.
yeah,
If Robert Williams was healthy, it'd be a no-brainer.
yeah. So on to Bucks Nets, a first round matchup.
Bucks.
Yeah, Bucks.
In 6.
I don't think it's even particularly close. Like,
Well,
again,
I think just because
you say 6 because like Kevin Durant and Kyrie can steal some games, but I don't think it can be a 6-game series and still not close. You know,
yeah, no, I agree. I think it'll go in 6. I think the Nets will blow them out a couple games, where the game starts to get away from you at the end of the second quarter, kind of thing. You're down
the
by
Nets will
14
blow
at
them out.
halftime. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Well, in the same way that the Bucks did against the Raptors when we had Kawhi, right? Like I just think It starts to get away from you in the second quarter. KD hits 3 threes in a row. Kyrie gets a couple disgusting buckets in the paint or something, and then all of a sudden you're down 14 and a half, and then you're down 19 in the third, and then all of a sudden it's over.
Right. But yeah, I think the Bucks are just a better team. The Nets play no defense. Nobody can stop Giannis.
Yeah, I think the Bucks will win the series. I just think the Nets will take a
And
few
I
games.
think Drew Holiday actually said that he can get whatever shot he wants against whoever's guarding him. Because whether it's Kyrie or Seth Curry, neither of them are physical, good defenders.
Well, as a long guard like myself, on a lower level, obviously,
Yeah.
small guards are my favorite matchup.
You just shoot over them anytime you want.
You shoot over them, you back them down, whatever. So I feel for Drew Holiday when he's talking about like against Kyrie or Seth Curry.
Yeah.
Because that's like the matchup that I love too, so I get that.
Yeah, so I'm seeing there are no guards who can stop Drew Holiday, except for Ben Simmons, who's not going to play.
Yeah.
On the Nets. I don't know who you're going to have to stop Chris Middleton. What, Joe Harris? Is he going to guard Chris Middleton or like?
Is Joe Harris playing?
No, I think Joe Harris is probably out, but all the same.
KD.
Okay, but then who's going to stop Giannis? Nobody, I guess. So
Drummond. Like he's not going to stop him, but that would probably be who you put on him. Claxton, maybe.
I just think any of the Bucks' top 3 scorers can get anything they want against any defender on the Nets.
Well, other than KD.
Other than KD, he's a good defender, but isn't like a superstar defender.
No, I think he's a really good defender. But yeah, I see what you're saying overall. Like to me, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Bucks.
So on to the Eastern Conference semifinals with Heat Raptors.
Heat.
Yeah, but I think it'll be close. I think I watched the Raptors Heat and it was really a grinded out game. And I know Jimmy Butler didn't play in that game. But the previous Raptors Heat game was a triple overtime game where Jimmy Butler did play. And I think it'll be
though, playoff basketball favors Jimmy Butler in the same way that it favors Kawhi.
Sure. I just think it'll be a long grinded out series.
Well, any series against the Raptors will be a long grinded out series.
So I think it's going to be the Heat, and I think it'll almost never really be in doubt, but I think the Raptors could still take them to 7.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because
I think the Heat,
Toronto, by the nature of basketball we play, is going to be a grind out.
Yeah, so I think both teams are going to play really good defense. Both teams. The Heat are just, at the end of the day, a better shooting team than the Raptors are.
Well, and they're just better overall.
Well, I mean, like Jimmy Butler and Siakam are a similar tier of players right now. I think Jimmy Butler is better in the playoffs.
That's the key.
But Siakam the past month has been amazing. So if I'm going to call Jimmy Butler and Siakam almost a wash, and Kyle Lowry and Van Fleet almost a wash.
Right, but almost a wash where I'd still give the edge to them both times.
Right, but then I'm moving on to role players where
Hero's better than Trent.
Yeah, like almost every night.
Trent
can drop 30 times. Yeah, and the Heat role players can just all shoot threes at a great clip. So when you got one of the best shooting teams in the league, like the Heat are just a overall better team, but just like I feel like the Heat are a little bit better everywhere.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So
that's a good way to put it. But yeah, for me, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Oh, so like you said, it might go 7, but for some reason, it'll still seem like it's definitely the Heat problem.
Yeah, like yeah, might go 7, but it's never really in doubt.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay, so you have Bulls Bucks. I have Celtics Bucks. I don't think that'll matter for either of us because I think we both have the Bucks.
Sorry, what was the 2 teams?
You have Bulls Bucks. I have Celtics Bucks.
Bulls Bucks, Celtics Bucks, Bucks.
Yeah, I think you're picking the Bucks. I'm picking the Bucks. The Bucks are just way better than either of those teams.
I agree.
So on to the conference finals. We have Heat Bucks.
Bucks.
Yeah, Bucks again. Bucks are just hard to pick against Giannis in the Eastern Conference.
You can't pick. They're defending champions, and you can't pick against it because they're doing the same thing. Plus, Giannis is a better free throw shooter.
And Giannis can hit step back threes now. Fun fact.
Yeah. So yeah, no, to me it's Bucks still. Easy.
So Bucks Suns finals rematch.
Suns.
Bucks.
That's ridiculous. Can I make my point now?
Will you tell me why it's going to be different than last year?
The Suns are better than they were last year. It's like
Why?
another year of experience, but it's like the Suns are now what the Bucks were.
What the Bucks were last year?
Yeah, like the
And the
Sun. This
Bucks
is
are now a year better too.
no, they're not because Brook Lopez is kind of hurt. PJ Tucker is not there anymore. But then also they have to deal with the fact that now Mikal Bridges is better, like way better, offensively, defensively. He's just a better player now. Cam Johnson is better than he was last year.
Right.
Book and
And
CP are just as deadly. The
okay, so
Bucks
maybe
didn't
the
get any
Suns take
better.
them 7 this year.
Pardon me.
So maybe the Suns take them 7 this year.
And win at home.
Mm.
Okay, here's my theory. You can't.
Who's the best player on the floor?
Giannis.
And the second best player on the floor is probably Booker.
Booker, and then Paul.
Are you sure Milton's not better on any given night than either of them?
Yeah, because, okay, so let's say Booker's better than Paul, talent-wise and just, like, athletic
Sure.
ability. Okay, and then Chris Paul does more for the Suns as the
So
floor
you-
general.
I don't know. I think on any given night, the Bucks will have the best player on the floor every night.
Yeah.
On any given night, can have the second best player on the floor, and on any
No.
given night, can have 1, 2, and like 4.
No.
What's your holiday?
They can't have number 2.
You're
Or
telling me
3.
Chris Milton can't be better than Devin Booker for a game?
No, I don't think he will be. No. In a series like that.
I'm not sure you've watched Chris
So-
Milton in the playoffs, but okay.
Okay. So, here's the thing. The Suns have won, like, I don't know, 64 games. The Suns are 64-17. They're
Okay.
32-8 at home and 32-9 on the road.
Yeah, the Suns are ridiculous. I agree.
They're fully healthy, basically. And they're better than they were last year. They have their defensive stud can now snipe threes too. And
Okay.
somewhat shoot a mid-range and can dunk in transition. Their youngish center is better now than he was last year, just another year of experience.
Mhm.
They have a floor general who's a point god. And they have a
Okay.
3-level scorer who is an archetype of Kobe Bryant.
Okay, and
Even if
where's
split up-
Giannis?
even if you split up the percent chance they win the championship, like any team wins the championship, even if you say the Suns only have a 17% chance, the Bucks have a 15% chance, like, and so on, with like other teams like Miami and stuff and the Warriors, the Suns have the highest chance of winning the championship. So therefore, you have to say they'll win.
The Suns don't have the highest chance of winning the championship. The
Are you-
Bucks do.
No, but you're looking at betting odds.
I'm not looking at betting odds.
What are you looking at?
Nothing.
Oh,
I'm
you're just
stating
saying
fact.
that. Okay. Because that's the thing, too, is people always go by betting odds, the Lakers and the Nets were on top. But betting odds are what you would make money on, not who Vegas thinks is going to win.
Betting odds are exactly who Vegas thinks is going to win. The worst odds, the best odds to win the championship, like, is the team that Vegas is going to let you make the least money off of because they think they're going to win the championship.
But isn't it based on who other people are going to bet on as well? I think my understanding is that betting's more complicated than that, because whenever you watch like ESPN, they always say that's not necessarily who they think is going to win. That's how you would bet. Do you know what I mean?
I do, but I think when betting odds are set, I believe they're set for who Vegas thinks is going to win the championship. Like, you're not going to say, oh, I think the Suns are going to win the championship, but we're going to give them the 5th best betting odds, because then people would make a whole lot of money on betting on the Suns.
Right.
So, all the same, I think, I don't know, you said Chris Middleton. You seem to be kind of low on Chris Middleton, who dropped 40 in the finals game last year. But
You said Chris Middleton dropped 40 in the finals?
yeah,
Sorry, now I'm verifying my betting odds thing. I just think that the Suns are just like, if I split it up in percentages, the Suns, well, they might not have a majority, they'd have the highest percent. And
Right,
therefore
because
I'd have to pick the Suns.
they have the highest percent, I think, because the Western Conference is easier to get through than the East.
No, I just think they'd have the highest percent for me because they're the best team.
But you talked a little while ago about how the best player normally wins. And who's the best player on the court?
Jay Crowder.
It's always Giannis. At any
Right.
point in any series, the best player on the floor is going to be Giannis. And the Suns will not have the best player on the floor in their second round matchup and their third round matchup or in the championship.
They're just too strong overall. You know when the 73-9 Warriors made the playoffs?
Yeah.
Same thing. You had to bet the 73-9 Warriors just because they were like so
Well,
dominant.
they had the possibly the best player in the world at that point.
No, they
They
didn't.
had they had unanimous MVP Steph Curry.
Yeah, but Braun is Braun. Well, I
Yes,
guess in
but
hindsight's 2020 on that, but now we know that Braun is Braun.
when you're thinking about it, you like Steph Curry was what the second best player in the world at worst at that point,
Yep.
and what's Devin Booker the 13th at worst,
Yeah.
15th,
Yeah, I haven't
17th. I
exactly
don't
done
know,
that. I haven't added it up, but sure.
but he's definitely not top five,
No.
and he's
Well,
probably not top 10. What do you mean? Well,
he could be.
get
I
out of
bet he's
here.
top 10.
He's not top five.
Look at the. No, he's not top 5, but look at the season. He's top 10. I wouldn't put him as low as 13. I'd say he's 10th at worst.
Wait, even if you make him
Because look
10th,
at the All NBA thing we did last week. There's not 10 players that are better than him.
even if you make him 10th, I think by consensus, the best player in the world right now is Giannis.
Yeah.
So you have the best player in the world against the 10th, the 15th, and then you also have the 20th best player in the world.
Yeah, but they're just so complete. I don't know. They're too dominant for me to not pick them to win.
I don't know. That Giannis is too dominant for me to not pick him to win.
See, that's interesting. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. Like the whole playoffs will be interesting, and it's a tricky scenario to be in to try to predict it all. But I just think the same way I felt about the 73-9 Warriors, I now feel about the Suns.
And the 73-9 Warriors lost. So
Yeah, I don't want to talk, but I had to bet on, like, not that I was betting back then, but I would have had to bet on them.
right.
And I feel the same about the Suns. Like, whether or not you think that Chris Paul will choke or break his hand for the 50th time or whatever, like, putting it all aside, it's the same thing. Here, look at it this way. When the Lakers were, like, in the Nets, were both the 8 seeds or something around the All-Star break, and no team has ever been an 8 seed, like whatever that statistic is. No team lower than the 5th seed at the All Star break has ever won a championship or whatever it is, right? Or at the Christmas break. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the variety of stats that revolve around that.
Yeah.
I immediately counted both the Lakers and the Nets out
Right.
because they're not better than any team ever. That's been that low.
Right.
Because when you look at other teams, I'm sure there are Shaq and Kobe teams that have, like, for whatever reason, at the All-Star break been the 5th. Like, you know what I mean? So, it's the same thing for me where it's like, they're so good. And I just have to pick that based on the statistic of the fact that they're that good.
But Giannis is so good.
Right. But the Bucks haven't gotten any better. They've gotten a little bit worse.
I don't think the Bucks are worse than they were last year.
PJ Tucker.
I like PJ Tucker a lot, but I don't think the Bucks are worse than they were last year.
Did you remember he used to play on Toronto?
Yeah, once upon a time.
Do you miss, like, the PJ Tucker, Grievous Vasquez, Lou Williams days of Toronto?
No.
Do you want to know what's funny? Look at the team we won the championship with. Like Kawhi, Gasol, Ibaka, Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, Kyle Lowry, Siakam. And then imagine that we thought we were going to win when we had Kyle, DeMar, Lou Williams. Like,
Yeah.
Norm Powell, which I know we won with Norm Powell, but like Norm Powell in 2019 versus Norm Powell and like the Lou Williams team was two different people.
Yeah.
Imagine that we thought we were going to win as Raptors fans, and then look at what it took to actually win. Jonas Valanciunas, who couldn't play defense at the time.
Yeah, that DeMar Kyle team really had no shot, did they?
I know, but imagine we thought we were going to beat Braun.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny to look back at?
I think that means we might have been biased Raptors fans.
I know, that really hurts, doesn't it? It's the same thing. Like, looking back at that is almost as funny as looking back at Derrick Rose's MVP season.
Right.
Where when we look at what it actually took to win and then look at what we won with, or like look at what we had, it's like, oh, we were not that close.
Yeah.
And to be fair, that actually might be, to me, Memphis might be in that same situation this year. Where if you look at what Memphis has versus what they actually like might win with 3 years down the road when they have like MVP Ja Morant and Defensive Player of the Year for sure, Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond
Right.
Bane, who's like the future Klay Thompson. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
when you look at what they'll win with, I bet it'll be the same. Where we're looking at Memphis right now, we're like, oh yeah, Memphis might win something. And then 5 years from now, when they actually make like a deep win and they have LeBron and Bronny James, then we're like, oh, that's what it takes.
Yeah. Yeah. We were really high on the one kind of two all-star, no more good players. Like, it was
I
like we
wanna-
had a starting all-star, a bench all-star, and then kind of okay players around them.
Yeah, like what a journey of a team that was, but it's funny to look back at it now and be like, oh, we weren't actually that close.
I think this current Raptors team could beat LeBron's team right now. So
This current Raptors team can beat LeBron's team.
yes,
Like
LeBron's current
LeBron's
team.
Cavs. Oh,
No,
yeah.
LeBron's Lakers.
Well, a lot. To be fair, a lot of teams are like, I don't know, 40. Well, so, like 45 times they've been beaten, so that's probably 18 or 20 teams or something. Just looking. So I was looking for our tweet of the week for this week, and I've been hunting around through Twitter here, and this isn't particularly funny or anything, but I'm just looking at Steph Curry's Twitter, and his not profile photo, but like the banner behind it, like the cover photo,
Sure.
is a picture of young Steph Curry, like 2013, 14 Warriors Steph Curry, with Kobe Bryant.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a really cool photo, actually. You should go look at it. So his profile photo in the little bubble, like in the circle, is him, like current Steph Curry sitting on the bench. But then, yeah, his cover photo is him and Kobe
That's on Instagram.
on Twitter.
On Twitter.
It's a really cool photo, so I recommend you go look at that. So I guess that's how we'll end it off this week, because we didn't plan a more interesting thing than that.
Yeah. Fun fact of the week that Steph Curry on Twitter has a cool cover photo.
Yeah, I watched. There's an interesting series on ESPN YouTube, where they talk about. It's called Threads or something, and they talk
Yeah.
about iconic uniforms. Like they covered like the Charlotte Hornets uniform from like the '80s or from the '90s or whatever, and how they came in and they were teal, like teal in
Right.
color, and how that became iconic. And now everybody buys Charlotte. Like Charlotte's cool to have a Charlotte jersey, even if you're not a Charlotte fan.
Right.
And they covered the Raptors once, and the dinosaur and purple and Vince and everything.
Right.
And then most recently, they just did Kobe's Black Mamba, Black Lakers uniforms.
Sure.
It's a really interesting series. If you're interested in like not only basketball but like basketball culture, it's really interesting to go give it a look. It's on ESPN's YouTube channel, but interesting. Anyway, I think that's interesting to go look
And
at.
if you haven't watched The Last Dance, go watch The Last Dance.
Yeah, there are still people who haven't, and I'm like, really?
No, The Last Dance was a spectacular series. I
It was
enjoyed it.
spectacular. I can't wait till we
recommended
get
it.
to watch the Curry's Last Dance.
Why would you have a Curry's Last Dance and not a LeBron Last Dance? But...
Well, there will be one of the. It'll be the same. They're gonna have the Last Dance together.
And LeBron's
LeBron's-
Last Dance won't come out for another 40 years because he's not
It'll
done for
be
the next
LeBron,
15 at
Bronny, and
least.
Steph Curry. Steph will be hitting from the logo as like a
Uh.
60-year-old dude. Bron will be 64.
Imagine the Warriors draft Steph Curry and draft LeBron and Bronny Jr. And LeBron goes there.
Steph
Yeah.
Curry will be making like $160 million a year because he'll keep super maxing himself over and over again. Under Armour will be at the Curry 46s.
That'd be awesome.
It'll be interesting to see where that goes. I hope the Warriors draft Bronny.
I hope the Warriors draft Bronny. See, I want to see LeBron play with the Warriors.
Yeah. I hope it happens. Like, genuinely. And that goes back to the whole Kevin Durant made a good decision by going to the Warriors. I hope Bronny
Kevin
goes to the
Durant
Warriors.
did not make a good decision going to the Warriors.
We'll leave that for another day.
We will leave that for never because it's never going to be true. So
Maybe we'll make that one of our summer episodes where we have to kill a little bit more time because there's nothing happening.
And we can just argue about whether Kevin Durant made a good decision all day. And you can say you don't count his championships, but it was still a good decision. Like I said, if you don't count his championships, it wasn't a good decision.
A 3-hour episode.
Yes.
All right, so that's all we've got for episode 16 of the In the Clutch podcast. We'd like to thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.